Hi everyone, welcome to the latest Corgi range announcement, featuring products due to arrive between September and December this year. This announcement heavily features our biggest selection of entertainment licensed products for the year, as well as new Aviation Archive and Vanguard's items. In Aviation Archive, we have 6 new releases, starting with a pair of new models from our World War I collection. Firstly, we have an SE5A returning to the range that brings with it a quite amazing story. Major Keith Logan Caldwell was a Kiwi ace in the Royal Flying Corps, and in September 1918 he made a quite death-defying escape after a mid-air collision in his aircraft, which ended up in a flat spin. Caldwell clambered out of the plane to attempt to steady it, and ended up gliding down towards the edge of the friendly side of no man's land, where he jumped clear and safely made it into the trenches just before the aircraft crashed. While this model doesn't include a tiny Keith Caldwell out on the wing, it does tell this incredible story of quick thinking and bravery in the earliest years of air-to-air combat. Joining this model is a new Albatros D5 release from the Jasta Fünf fighter unit. We've commented amongst ourselves that this is quite possibly the most complex livery we've ever attempted to produce on an Aviation Archive release. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong. Moving on to our Second World War aircraft, we have a pair of popular bombers rejoining the range. The first is a Bristol Beaufort Mark 1A that operated in Egypt in 1944. We've had requests for a Mediterranean theatre scheme on this model since we announced the model, so I'm glad we can finally deliver. Our venerable Lancaster is once again returning to the range after our sellout Dam Busters release last year, and this one tells the story of one of 617 Squadron's famous missions after the Dams raid. This Avro Lancaster participated in the raid that finally sank the dreaded German battleship Tirpitz on November 12, 1944. The aircraft was named Honour and features some distinctive nose art, as well as the huge Grand Slam bomb designed by Barnes Wallis within the modified bomb bay. Moving into the modern era, we have a new release of our hugely popular, newly tooled BAE Harrier II in 1/48 scale. This release replicates one of the RAF retirement schemes for this beloved aircraft. This is our early pre-production sample and is subject to a lot of further physical modifications and improvements to the paint finish. And finally, we've teamed up with the Rolls-Royce Heritage Hangar to bring the Supermarine Spitfire PR19 to the range. This beautifully maintained aircraft has wartime history and continues to fly today on the UK Airshow circuit. There's plenty more to come on this one very soon. I'll also take a moment to say how thrilled we've been with the reception to the surprise announcement of the BAC TSR2 in a what-if scheme at RIAT this July. The response was beyond our expectations, with the model now sold out already in our warehouse. The release was nearly 2 years in the planning, and we really enjoyed researching the possibilities that this aircraft would have brought to the Royal Air Force. The scheme we eventually settled on was RAF's No. 44 Squadron, who was set to be the first squadron operating the aircraft. As such, the model was intentionally rather bare in terms of armament and stores, but based on how well it's gone down, never say never for the future. Moving on to Vanguards, we have a unique collection of Ford vehicles to announce and a handful of solo releases, including news on an exciting new partnership for the Vanguards range. I'm really pleased to debut the next collector set of Ford vehicles in the range, and this one has a special story to tell, as the 4 vehicles within this set all represent special cars produced for Henry Ford II when he visited the United Kingdom on company business. As the oldest grandson of the company founder, Henry Ford II held a special place in the history of the Ford Motor Company, and under his management many of the brand's most legendary cars were born. The vehicles built for his work in the UK all had a unique specification, including a very special Ford Escort Mark II RS2000 in Roman bronze. The collector's set will be presented in bespoke Henry Ford II themed packaging. Moving on, our Ford Cortina Mark V makes another appearance in this range announcement with its first two-tone release with this 1.6 carousel in forest and crystal green. Now, I'm extremely excited to reveal that we're working with Richard Hammond and his team at his classic car restoration business The Smallest Cog to produce some new models for the Vanguard's range. To start, we are opening pre-orders on this beautiful Ford Escort Mark II RS2000 in midnight blue that was the first car restored by the Cog team when they first opened for business. We'll have more to reveal about what we're doing, and indeed have already been doing together, very soon. And the Ford Ranger Raptor is back in this distinctive true red livery, featuring special rear graphics on this Ford Ranger Raptor X Special Edition that was produced for the Malaysian market. And finally for Vanguards, we have the Volkswagen Golf Mark I GTI returning to the range in an Ari Silver, one of the rarest colours that the car was ever produced in. Moving on to our entertainment licenses, we'll start with a lot of new music products. For fans of heavy metal, we have more new products in our Motorhead and Iron Maiden licenses, with both a pair of new 150 scale trucks and a pair of highly detailed 1/72nd scale aircraft that borrow tooling from the Aviation Archive range. All of these products have been designed by the creative teams behind the bands themselves. For Motorhead, both of our new releases are themed around their legendary album, Bomber. The truck features the album artwork all across the trailer, while the heavyweight Aviation release dresses up our Heinkel Bomber to recreate the aircraft as seen on the album artwork. Iron Maiden fans have a truck coming to mark the 40th anniversary of their legendary World Slavery Tour, featuring the art that also features on the sleeve for Power Slave. And for the Aviation release, we salute Aces High with a Supermarine Spitfire Mark II that famously descends from the ceiling when the band perform the song live on stage. The Beatles are without doubt the most influential band of all time. Combining myriad musical styles in distinctive ways throughout their career, they defined both the sound of the 1960s and set the standard for everything that followed. We've been producing a collection of London buses themed around the band's albums for some years now, and I'm delighted to say that we are launching the final missing models in the set. Rubber Soul, the White Album and Abbey Road are now all available for pre-order. And staying with theme buses in our gifting selection, we have a new Paddington product entering the range. Everyone's favourite bear returns to cinemas later this year, and I'm really pleased to present a newly refreshed new Route Master that is now available for pre-order. That's it for new announcements, but I'm sure it hasn't escaped anyone's notice that a couple of weeks ago we announced the return of the much requested 267 Batmobile to the Corgi range. This model is a shared release with the Corgi Model Club, but we've made sure that the main range release is distinctly different. Here is the first look at our final product sample of the Batmobile, as well as the recreated retail-friendly window box packaging. This version includes a permanently attached metal tow hook for the Batboat, and I'll just leave that thought hanging there. It also includes those often lost firing rockets in yellow, and just like the last time with the 261's DB5, it's time for me to have a go and probably lose them on the floor. Oh, 1, 2, 3, there you go. Great stuff. Finally, I have an update on Star Trek for you. I was hoping to be able to say that pre-orders for our new tool of the USS Enterprise NCC-1701 refit were ready to go live in this announcement, but we're not quite there yet. For now, here's a first look at the metal engineering sample to whet your appetite. This will be a high metal content, highly decorated model that we're aiming to be best in class at this size. There will be more to come when we have a decorated sample to show off. That's it for this range of Corgi announcements. See you again in January for our first announcements for 2025. Thanks for watching.